if you can't take certain medications with ayahuasca or DMT. And if you have like a schizophrenic history, then that's contraindicated. But by and large, it's very safe and very healthy. I mean, the other thing is that the only other options really are to travel to different countries where they're legal and to take them there. So people are traveling to all kinds of countries, especially taking ayahuasca in these retreats in South America. Or there are also iboga clinics for drug addiction. So if you have an addiction to heroin or opiates or cigarettes, there's a psilocybin study being done at Johns Hopkins University, I think in Maryland. I'm not entirely sure, but a pilot study on psilocybin for smoking cessation. It was a small study, but they saw after a full year, 80% of the people were still sober from cigarettes. So, but it's amazing.
I need that.
I think that totally is.
I'm trying to quit now.
Possible. Sure.
I'm trying to
I quit
now,
cold turkey. So, yeah, it's not easy.
It's proving rough.
It's hard, right?
We are as funny as this is going to sound, we are at the hour and a half mark. It seems like it's only been like 45 minutes, but we're at the hour and a half mark. So we're going to kind of wind down so that we can get ready for the next show. Yes, will you please come back? We would love to. I feel like we only got to talk about. Yeah.
Oh, there's so much more. There's so much more. Like we could talk about liberal Christianity too. It's a big thing. And there's so much more to talk about. Sex, yes. Yeah. Sexual religious trauma, repression, which is a form of self-hatred. Yeah.
Well, I look forward to that. I think everybody's loved it in the. I've been watching the live chat. Everybody's absolutely loved it. So this was great. Steve, do you have any well, I can check that because you're logged in with that.
No, but it was kind of funny because I watch the live chat while we do these things so I can get questions and interact with them and things of that nature. And, everybody was loving you, got into the psychedelic. People weren't quite sure. Then at the end, they're loving you. So you expressed yourself really well and explained it really well. Because, again, people do have this knee-jerk reaction with a lot of this stuff. And I don't understand why. They just, for some reason, think that because they have a particular belief, they have to hold all these other beliefs. And again, there might be some kind of things out there. And this is my personal belief. I believe there might be some kind of base reality. You know what? I'm going to say there probably is some base reality out there. We have no access to it. We have filters that we have sensory perception filters. We're never going to experience the terrain. We only have the map of the terrain, right? So what I think psychedelics do is this gives you a different perception filter to see what actual reality actually is. Because what the hell is reality? We have no idea. We only perceive it the way we perceive it. And I think that the psychedelics give you a different way to perceive it. But what that base reality is, I don't think anybody has any clue. I don't think we have any real access to it. But it is fascinating the fact that you can perceive reality in different conscious states, and just to poo-poo that away. I think it's wrong because, again, I'm not a woo-woo person at all. But people do just poo-poo it away as woo-woo. But it's not, because I think what happens is because these things are legit. Woo-woo comes from that, right? What's that? Woo-woo and poo-poo. Poo-poo.
You got all these big words before, and then you reduced it to poo-poo and woo-woo.
Here's the thing. Woo-woo is a derogatory term. It really is. And we're doing ourselves a disservice by giving into our knee-jerk reactions. And I think a lot of times people have this reaction because it sounds like religion. And I mean, that triggered the hell out of me when I left religion and I moved to the Bay Area of California. And I was like, wait a second, you all are just some weird religious people in a different way. But some of these experiences are just, there's a lot more to them. And I encourage openness, because openness is really the opposite of dogmatism. And when we're closed-minded and we're so convinced of our ways without even exploring things, because there's some kind of emotional element there, we run the risk of becoming dogmatic again. And hey, the fun and freedom of not being religious is that we can explore and experiment and learn and be wrong and change our minds and all that stuff. That's the fun.
I agree. So we've got just a couple of super chats here that we'll read out. Thank you guys for those.
Can I plug myself too? No.
Oh yeah, we're gonna let you do that right before we close out. They'll give you the last word, and you can let everybody know where to. There's only 4 things I need to read, and then it'll be all yours. The Mind of God says, good platform for speaking on important topics. Thank you, Mind of God. We'll see him in a couple minutes, actually. God's Servant says, friends, there are people who love God, and there are people who are pretending. It would be very naive to automatically believe what someone says. Hannah Anderson says, thank you for featuring this guest. He's absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much, by the way, for Hannah, for that super chat. And from Brian Stevens, smash the downvotes, get up to 100 upvotes. Let's do it. So thank you guys for those. And now, Andrew, we'll let you have any final thoughts, plug your blog and where people can follow you, and then we look forward to having you back.
All right, everybody. So subscribe to my blog, lifeafterdogma.org. I'm constantly writing. I have hundreds of pages of resources on these topics and issues. And I also offer coaching and support for people who are undergoing religious transitions, or trying to heal from religious trauma. And I'm currently going to be working on my thesis for religious trauma and understanding indoctrination and healing it, and also through spirituality or psychedelics, whatever terms you want to use. So you can find me on my blog, on Facebook or Twitter, Andrew Jasko. I'll even give you my email address, Andrew J. Jasko, Jasko @gmail.com. So give me a shout out. And I love to speak on podcasts, videos, or events. I put on workshops. One of them is called Reclaiming Sexuality from Religion. I have a YouTube video. Go check it out, Reclaiming Sexuality from Religion. And I'm also working on creating a training program for therapists and helping professionals to help people from indoctrination. And I just want to get more exposure. I want to get this idea out. My goal is to promote human flourishing, and I think that no human being can fully shine in a religious system. Most religions tend to oppress and stifle people's spirituality and health and welfare, and there's a better way to go about taking all the best things that religion does. There's a better solution out there. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, I think that was very well said. Amen to everything that you just said there. It's funny how we find some of the guests that we have on here. I just happened to look through our Twitter. It'll notify you from time to time, like when somebody follows you. And I was going through the Twitter, and I saw that you had followed us, and so I went to your Twitter profile and then saw the Life After Dogma and just started looking around, and I was like, oh, this guy would be amazing to have on. And we were just going to talk about the religious thing for tonight, and then right before the show he was telling us about the psychedelics and everything else that he did. And so now we've got another time that we'll bring him on, and I think that's amazing. Somebody else that I'm going to put you in contact with, and I just actually sent her your information now, is Shannon Q. I think you being on her channel and having a conversation with her would be fantastic, because you two would hit it off so well.
And I want to get this message out there, because there are so many people suffering silently in churches and religious institutions, and a lot of them don't even realize why they're suffering, and a lot of them just don't know what to go do or how to go about it. And
sure,
there's this idea that religion helps people, and there's just so much suffering. So
I couldn't give you any pushback from anything that you argued. Honestly, you articulated it well. You had good argumentation. I really didn't have anything to call you out on, to be honest with you. I wish next time, or in fact, I think there's going to be more than just the next time. You're going to be back a few times, hopefully. But I would like to get somebody maybe like a Christian apologist, maybe like S.J. Thomason or somebody, to kind of give you, their perspective on it, because I think that would only be kind of fair, because I know Kyle and I really couldn't argue with what you said. I mean,
that'd be interesting. Yeah,
you're right. Yeah. So, I mean,
that'd be fun.
Yeah.
They probably say stuff like you're making generalizations, or that was just your experience.
Yeah. Yeah, but we
it'll be
apologize. We don't agree with them, but we I like them. They're friends of the channel, and I'd like to see how they respond to the arguments you were making, because I really do want to see if they have a cogent response for it.
Yeah, SJ would be good. SJ would be a good one.
Yeah, SJ would be really good at it.
You know what? They inspire half of my writings too. Just seeing like the bad arguments and following those. It's great.
Really bad apologetics out there. Absolutely bad apologetics.
On Twitter, I'll connect you to SJ, and you can go, because she runs a blog too that's extremely popular. I think she's got she have 18,000 followers on Twitter now. She's up to, but she writes blogs.
She's got her own core questions about her. So yeah, she's pretty popular.
Yeah. So that might be a really good conversation to have. But yeah, I look forward to having you back on, and really thank you for coming on. This was fantastic.
It's been a pleasure.
Sure. And guys, we will close out for right now. You can join us back here at 10 o'clock. This is in 20 minutes. And we will have the Mind of God. And I still don't know what that gentleman wants me to refer to him as. So once we get him in and I know what name he wants to be called, I don't want to dox him. But they will be having a debate on biblical prophecy. So that will be live here at 10 o'clock. And we'll see you back here then.
Good night.
Non sequitur. Your facts are uncoordinated.